Hello there, everyone. Future feature film director, the Rookie Critic here, and I'm going to be checking out the live-action trailer for the Yaira comic book from the Rippaverse and the Saska sisters. I have read ISOM 1, 2, and Alpha Core, and I am not a huge fan of them. I think they could use quite a bit of improvements. If I were to say any main issue, it might be with how long they are. Considering how long they are, they lack substance for me. But I'm also not a detractor. But anyway, I love checking out fan films and short films and stuff. I do reactions to those here and there with other YouTubers, and I've got some on my channel, some on another channel, and I enjoy either giving them praise or tearing them apart. It doesn't matter. So that is going to be no different here. And I have also already checked out the making of and Rippa's update video on the Yaira trailer, and I have seen those. I've seen the trailer even as it is, so I'm just going to start breaking it down, but I'll address those in this video as well. I'm going to make it one big ol' video addressing these things, and I'll bring them up after I do one after the other. So without further ado, let's get cracking. Before I dive into this, I will say that I'm glad they decided to go with a live-action trailer for their comic. This is, again, much more up my alley. I'm more of a film guy than a comic book guy, so I do like seeing this effort here, regardless of whatever their budget was or how long it took. I'm glad that they went this route to try to get some hype for it. I like that they tried to do the animation for some of the other ones before. I do like seeing that kind of thing expressed, even if it's really good or really bad. I like seeing that, so that's cool. What I think about the trailer overall, though, just before I get into breaking down each little bit, I think kind of like with the books, it lacked some substance with it. But let's break this down bit by bit, and you'll see kind of what I mean by the end of this. I guess that's supposed to be homaging Marvel a little bit with how they have the title crawl there. We've got the two crosses and the red moon. I assume that's for the Saska sisters, of course. That's right here. The red being their horror background and stuff. Why not? It's all good.
Yes.
I'm not sure what is up with the pigeons and everything that they have so far. I don't know if it's supposed to be like a Cornetta trilogy kind of thing where there's the ice cream that's in each of the films that kind of make it a trilogy, but they're not really significant or connect anything. Or if this is just a meme with the pigeons. Or it might turn out that the pigeons actually rule the human race this whole time. I don't know. I have no idea. Anyway.
It's gonna be tough.
So far, it's not really
train
much
my
to say
body
there,
to do things that people like me shouldn't be able to do. But unfortunately for me, flying ain't one of them.
So with this opening bit right here, I do find this scene funny. I don't think it's meant to be funny, but I find it hilarious. Black Angus Reviews and I read this in the comic like, you know, man, I trained my body to do all these things, but the one thing it can't do, crash into the car, is fly. And that, I don't know, it reads as kind of funny. The way that he's reading it is a little more serious, like, oh man, it's the end of my day, it kind of sucks. I do appreciate that they did a stunt here, but I am disappointed because this is a Yaira trailer, right? Like we've seen him, you know, be crashed in the car before. It's all right, whatever. Okay, he likes the shot. He wants to show it again. This does have to do with Yaira's first appearance in ISOM #1, but I do find it weird that he doesn't show. They chose to not show her here. Like, I would think, you know, for Yaira, you'd want to see her either when she drops him, when she grabs his by the throat and drops him. I was going to say that you don't need to have them in the air, but they, you know, they do have, you know, cranes and stuff. It's on the behind the scenes things. They have them. So I'm not sure why they didn't try to, you know, make that part of the scene showing her with her powers doing something like that. With it being a Yaira trailer, I would think that that part would be more significant than the ISOM part of this trailer. But like I was saying, I do like that they did a stunt here. I imagine that quite a bit of the budget did go into the stunt here with this car. They had to find a car. They had to get the, you know, the equipment and the harnesses and everything to pull this off. I imagine that, you know, with this stunt and however it works here, I haven't done this type of thing before specifically, so I don't know the whole process, but I imagine that there's no other cars parked near it because of potential debris that can be knocked around, as well as why there's not so many people. There's just, you know, two people sort of somewhat near this area right here. Like, they're able to get out just in time. And like, okay, so they don't get hit by the glass. It's about to pop out right here. Like, yeah, because there's all that glass that comes out. all the way over here, and whatever wave. You don't want to have anybody injured on set, so I assume that's why it's as empty a parking lot as it is.
Don't follow me.
And you can hear the audio track of her saying, "Don't follow me," sort of in the end there. But there's the car alarm going off. There's people sort of screaming in the back, and you hear a "Don't follow me" before you even see Yaira. That was an odd choice. That's why I'm saying I don't know why you didn't show her face or anything with it. You just had it off screen, the audio. I don't know, because you introduce her in the next shot here in a sec. But let's go over to that now. Not much else to say there. So
we feel is going to be an undeniable asset here at Projexus. Won't you please join me in welcoming her to our team? Dr. Sally Rodell.
All right, introducing Yaira, Sally Rodell. I like the blue here. I think that the blue and blonde works well, though it does make me kind of think of Sweden, but Sweden does have like a different blue than this. I've heard from somebody, and I don't know if this was in the comic or something that I missed, that she's supposed to be Icelandic, sort of. I'm not sure, but she does have an accent here that does sound Icelandic or Russian. It's hard to kind of peg the exact accent that she's going for with this.
Adopt or die.
And we get over here, and people are running in fear. That one dude's running that way. Somebody else in the background's running the other way. Got a police officer on the ground, I think, yelling for Solari. All right.
Law of the earth. Very few things have the ability to survive the test of time. Though we may not be around to see them.
I don't know if this will be any correlation to anything, but with her talking about the test of time and stuff, it just reminds me a little bit of the Iceland 2 trailer where he also mentions time.
Time is a fascinating thing. We often like to think of it as something that just is.
Not sure if there's supposed to be a significance with that, with the whole thing, or if I'm just pulling that out of left field and thinking of something, but whatever, making something out of nothing that's there, who knows? Who knows? Now, this shot right here, I'm not sure what the idea was here. Or I guess I get what the idea was. You're trying to show crowd control. You're showing, she's here and there's danger. Alpha Core's on the way. There seems to only be 2 officers on the scene. There's one yellow strip of tape here, caution tape, and some guys in the back chilling. There's no caution tape on this side, though. There's only like 3 people it's keeping back behind them. Yaira's on the inside here, just right behind them, and it's like I don't get the full sense of the scene with this, because it's just, I don't know. I had before with the other scene, it was showing chaos, people running around. So I'm assuming that the area is supposed to be more cleared. Are they running? What are they running from? Are they running from her? They don't seem to be reacting to Yaira when she's right here, so they're clearly not running from her. But
5 minutes. Hold the line. 5 minutes. Thanks for the heads up.
But the way she says, thanks for the heads up, and shoves him out of the way, it makes me think she is against the police here, sort of, that he's calling out. Hopefully, Alpha Core is going to come by to deal with Yaira. But then she also looks up at something, and you hear a lady scream, which I'm assuming is supposed to be I'm just calling her the Gen V chick, the one who plays the other girl here that has the mouth beam that goes out in a sec.
I was here. I lived. I am still here.
I've got a commentary on her dialogue, what she's actually saying here. Then I'll wait until it's over to comment on that.
I'm on you.
With this, I think it's an odd choice to have a mouth beam go up into the sky, but this does tell you some stuff about the character without knowing much right away. Her eyes are glowing a similar shade of blue like Yaira's are, so it's telling you that bit of information. She's got some lights right here, sort of highlights that are glowing. Other than that, I'm not sure. She seems to be freaking out, like she's not sure what's going on. Yaira is speaking with her speech that projects this. It's kind of giving an impression that they might be doing experimental things that, I guess we can infer that they create the accepts or something here and there. I don't know. They haven't been clear on what that is all the time, so I can only guess, I guess. All right, yep, a nice little flying shot there. She's not doing a huge flight, just jumping over there. Cool.
Sweet dreams, chilled.
I'm not sure if she's saying "sweet dreams, child" or "chilled." It sounds like she says "chilled" as she punches the cameraman down. Poor guy. But yeah, that was that's nice. You don't have to show the impact of the punch either, especially when we cut back to her in a sec and see the result of the punch.
It is that struggle that is the friction of creation. I would like to thank Mr. Eusebio for allowing me the opportunity to discover and create, alongside my esteemed colleagues at Projexus.
Okay, now that her speech part is over, I would like to address it. I'm going to play the whole. I clicked it together so you can hear it in full.
Or die. It is the truest law of the earth. Very few things have the ability to survive the test of time, though we may not be around to see them to their fullest fruition. What we struggle to create now will be the triumphant echoes from the past. I was here. I lived. I am still here among you. It is that struggle that is the friction of creation. I would like to thank Mr. Eusebio for allowing me the opportunity to discover and create, alongside my esteemed colleagues at Projexus.
All right. Yeah, I'm not sure what the heck she's talking about as I put it all together. I mean, in the trailer itself, when it plays in its full thing, it's difficult to know what she's saying because it's spaced out by those little scenes in between, and it just seems to be kind of a long speech. But putting it together, found what she says. I mean, I guess we're supposed to infer that she, maybe has lived a long time and some experiments have worked or something, or she's, some type of evolution. I don't know. I'm not looking for the specific answers to that at the moment with it. It just, for a trailer, especially for a short trailer for the comic book, I would kind of think that whatever dialogue they're choosing to have us focus on would be a little bit more clear in what it means. It's just kind of a random speech. I don't know why this is the prompted speech for this being introduced at Projexus, but I don't know. The accent also doesn't help. Some of the words are a little bit hard to tell exactly what she's saying, but I don't know. I question why this is what they chose to have be in the trailer to get you, hyped for the comic. I'm not sure what the angle was with this. But anyway, let's continue.
Thank you.
I do like how tall she is. I mean, she looks like a tall, strong type of character, essentially, so that's good. And
it's just an unusual area of expertise to pair with biology.
I mean, I don't know if I'd say that archaeology and biology is a odd thing to pair together. I mean, archaeology is discovering fossils and stuff, right? So biology is how current life functions. I mean, I kind of put them in a similar enough category. It wouldn't be that far-fetched to have them be together. I don't know, but...
Well, Dr. Rodell, from my understanding, is an unusual woman. Don't be threatened, Jerry. She's on our side.
Yeah, now, this next part here seems to go on for a little bit. We end... as far as I can tell, this whole conference thing or whatever introducing her should kind of just cut to the next part. This part's over. This part is over. And then it should cut to the next part of the trailer. But we kind of linger on here for a while. We're at 2:58 timestamp right now. And look at how long it goes just kind of standing around. This is kind of baffling. It feels like they left this in here on accident. I don't know.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, shaking hands, okay. Taking a picture, smiling around, sort of. I mean, not really smiling, they're just kind of looking around, but taking pictures, I guess. He's happy over here. 15, yep. That is over 20 seconds. We're still just lingering on them, not really doing anything. And for a trailer, usually I would think you want it to be short, sweet, to the point, get them hooked, show specific things you want them to know. What do you want the audience to take away from your trailer? That's why this is really confusing why this is here. Why there's just 20 seconds of nothing really going on. I do like this part. This part's probably my favorite part of the trailer, having this girl down here, I'm just calling her the Gen V girl, spits out blood from getting socked by Yaira a minute ago, and the way she looks like more petite than Yaira, definitely. Size comparison, Yaira is a tower over her. with this. And
You took that like a champ. Were you trying to knock me out? No. It was meant to be a death blow.
the way that sounds, I'm sorry, I'm ripping on the accent a little bit. It's meant to be a death blow. Kind of fun. Anyway. Okay, I do like her reaction right here. Gen V's reaction to that. Yaira, as far as we can tell, she's pretty strong. She can fly. She was able to pick up Islam by his throat and just chokeslam drop him, basically take on the Alpha Core as well. So she's got some level of super strength. And then for this woman who, as we saw earlier, did a weird mouth beam, we can and had like similar glowing eyes. We can assume that she's probably got something similar to what's going on with Yaira. I don't know. There's not enough information to really give an answer to that, but it does tell us that this girl is durable enough to withstand a punch from her that was meant to kill her. So this girl is much more petite as she is compared to Yaira, can withstand a death punch by Yaira. So that's something. And then something about her character that's told here is her fear. She's like, she's like, that was a death blow. She's like, oh shit. When she said, you're trying to knock me out, it's like, well, you didn't try to talk to me. And, she assumes maybe you're trying to capture me, whatever. I don't know. Try to knock me out. Nope, you're trying to kill me. Oh shit. She can tell that she's strong. She just spat out a bunch of blood, punched by her. So I do like that little detail there. And then but this does kind of frame Yaira completely, as far as we can tell in this trailer so far, as kind of the villain with this, looking down at her. She was like, it was meant to be a death blow. I was going to pop your head off, basically. Okay, superhero. That nice. All right. Okay. And that's, I assume, Solari. That's going there. Stand down, Yaira. Got you down there. So that is the trailer. It shows 1 second of her over here in the uniform, which she's in the uniform. You got her in the whole costume right here, and you didn't really use it in the trailer. What the heck? I feel like you probably, I would have tried to utilize that as best you can. Maybe, I don't know. It seems you got her in it. I don't know. She says, winter's coming or something. Yaira Winter's here, and then shows the rest of the stuff they're trying to sell. Yeah, so not a huge fan of the trailer. My main thing would be you could shorten it down a bit, tighten up, especially that was a good 20 seconds of just lingering on these people there. And I'm not sure what you want the takeaway to be from the trailer for the Yaira comic. Like, if it was like, I know that the Rippaverse is really stingent on not spoiling things or having there's NDA memes all the time about talking about anything, but I would assume for the trailer you want to give us something about it. Like the fact that Islam was in the trailer, but you're not showing the part where Yaira's in there was kind of odd too. Like, why was that in the trailer for this? Is that significant to the Yaira comic? I mean, maybe, but for people that have not read Islam, for people that this might be the first time hearing about it and they see the trailer first, maybe, I imagine they'd be extremely confused. Just like, what is this? What is this? Like, what information did we get from this to help? That's the thing I wish that there was a little bit better of in the trailer here. Now that that's done, let's move on over to the making of video, which I was expecting there to be a lot of answers to the questions that I had after watching the trailer, like, why they decided to make some of these decisions and why it looked the way it did or something, just like some of the process that they did with making it. And the video doesn't really go into that. It's like about a 10-minute video, and the majority of it, if I were to sum it up, is them all just kind of patting each other on the back, which, you made the film. That's good that you did. I'm not saying that you can't do that. Of course you can congratulate each other. That's good. You worked on the project. You had fun. That's awesome. That's cool. But I guess my impression when it comes to a making of video or behind the scenes video is that you talk about some of the process when making the thing. I'm not asking for full on spoilers of the character stuff. That's not what you want to get into. You don't have to go into that much detail, but I would assume that, talking about the production would be one of the main things that would be the focus of. That's one of the things that gets my blood going. Like, oh, hell yeah, let's get into this, especially coming from like an independent creator in this. I want to see what you guys decide to do. How did you decide to do this? What did you end up doing and why? Like, why did you end up going with what you did. Like, why'd you choose the scene where Isom slams on the car? Why'd you go with the scene where she punches the chick in the face and go with the mouth beam and stuff? Like, what decisions led to some of these? That's what I would think the making of would be part of doing that, or how the designer was able to get the outfit going for the clothes or the hair, and how quick they had to do it, or how long the actress had to be in it. What was her process with trying to get the accent down and stuff? But it's like, we get nothing in that video. It's just, there's really no information given. The only thing that there was pretty much given was one of the Saskas was saying how
writing for Marvel is what introduced us to Eric July. And I remember knowing that he's a huge comic nerd. And so people are like, oh, we sent your comic to him just to see what he would say. And everyone was like, oh, you're gonna get ripped apart. And I was like, no, I think this guy's gonna like it. And Eric loving that was so cool, and that's how we kind of became friends. So every time we would write an issue, we partially wrote it in mind being like, oh, I bet this Eric July guy's gonna review it. I want it to be really boss, and I want him to really dig it. And I asked like, hey, how tall is Altona? You know? And is she nearsighted or farsighted? And he's so cool about it.
That's a story. That's something different. That's adding something that we didn't maybe know to the whole like production process. I like hearing that. That's something good. The Gen V girl, she talks about how there were drawings and stuff, and we're able to see some of the initial concepts for the character that it's supposed to be based on.
I was really stoked to see the illustrations of Stefania first, and you can just almost, it helps you imagine the character because it's so well thought out before, and you're like, okay, cool. I can see what kind of damage this character can do and how destructive she can be, but also has this really human component about her too, even though she's discovering her powers for the first time. It's really epic to see.
And I think on the campaign page for Yaira, the character that she played was supposed to have a little bit different haircut. They could have, said why they didn't do that. Like, she's not willing to shave her hair for it because it's such a very brief thing. It's not for a film. It's a trailer. It's for a comic book thing. Like, that's a lot of commitment to do for something so brief. Like, something like that to get into that. I like hearing about that kind of stuff. And it's like, there just wasn't anything there. Maybe they've recorded that already, though, and maybe they'll make that into another video to post at some point throughout the Yaira campaign. That would be kind of cool. That's the kind of thing that I, as somebody who's interested in film, would love to see. And like, I was just thinking about other ones that do behind the scenes stuff, and the ones that come to mind that I've found to be very helpful, especially for independent creators and people trying to make films themselves. If you look at Epic Rap Battles of History, if you look at their behind the scenes stuff, I mean, the main content for the rap battles are usually about, a minute and a half to 3 minutes long, sometimes a little bit longer, but about 2.5 minutes is about the average on there. And they're behind the scenes. It's like, 15 minutes of them going into detail, heavy detail about what they did and why. I'm going to show some examples here and give you an idea of what I'm talking about. The first example will be from their Lara Croft video with the actress that was playing Lara Croft and what she did for getting the voice right and getting how she sounds right.
I'll start rapping and then start going at the normal pace of the song and then try to pick it up and see how fast I can go, because there is some faster stuff in this song that I want to make sure that I can enunciate while I'm being British. You start off with something like, haunted by the thought of what I should have been continuing, a mission that was rooted in a 20-year affinity, and by the time you're done, it's like, haunted by the thought of what I should have been continuing, a mission that was rooted in a 20-year affinity, and then you turn it British, haunted by the thought of what I should have been continuing, a mission that was rooted in a 20-year affinity. I love trying to challenge myself in speediness in that way, and clarity and diction. Just getting my nerd on.
See, that is quite the interesting process there. And if other people that want to do the same kind of thing to see how she could do that, how can you do a different accent and go that fast in that same thing? Well, she just showed you a technique on how you could do that. And so for contrast with like the Yaira stuff, the actress who played as Yaira in it, if she were to talk about like what was her inspiration for doing the accent that she did, what type of practicing did she do? Has she done accents before? Some type of information like that would be kind of cool to see. The next thing I think of is like with the editing process, not even like the filming part that they had. Like with Epic Rap Battles, they have their Richard the Lionheart video versus Ragnar Lothbrok, and the guy talks about how I'll just let him say it right here, so you don't have to hear it from me.
Though to keep things interesting in the edit, I try to avoid hard cuts whenever possible. For example, when Pete performs the Sean Connery line, notice how he goes across camera like this. This is Pete telling me to use his movements here as an opportunity to hide a cut. So here you can see how the guys behind him seamlessly disappear as he moves across screen. Something else I like to do is to use the movements the actors make as opportunities to have background people move in tandem. Like here we have Lloyd making this circular arm movement. I use this as an opportunity to move these guys in the background away, almost like he's shooing them away. There's also this shot with Pete where he moves his arms around, and I can use this motion to get these dancing guys in the back to magically show up behind him. And then when my job is done, I send back the project files, and then it's up to Josh and Javi to turn something that looks like this into this.
And this is just like a little taste of what one of their behind the scenes videos is like. Each one they do is quite different for many different reasons with what they go into and whatnot. So I'm just saying it'd be kind of cool that if they do behind the scenes videos in the future, that if they did ones that showed more about some of their process or what they did in the productions, if they were going one direction and then something happened and they had to completely change it, then that's where you'd put it. That's where I'd want to see it. Which now brings me into the final video, the final part that I'll be covering for this video here, which is the update video that he put out where he explains a little bit about the Yaira trailer. I'm just going to bring that up here so I'm not misphrasing what he's saying here.
I want to clarify some things about the Yaira #1 campaign trailer. It's not a trailer for an upcoming show or film that's in the works. This was done specifically to promote the comic book and build some hype around it. It was shot on what is effectively a shoestring budget, and
so far it's good that he's clarifying this stuff. I think that's good. But I do think that, like, you know, this being a live action trailer for a comic book, I would assume that you probably should have maybe put something about the comic book in the front around when you did the Rippaverse logo and the Saska sisters, like before the actual trailer begins. Maybe have, you know, like based on, you know, this is, you know, for the upcoming Yaira. It's something in the beginning that lets people know front load that this is for a comic book and, you know, not directly going to be a series of some kind would be what I'd say. But this whole thing here, the clarifying and everything, this would have been probably good to put into the behind the scenes. And as he gets to this, he just said right there, it was on a shoestring budget, and he's going to go into more detail right here about making of it.
It only took us a day to shoot.
There took us a day to shoot. That's good information that I wish was clarified in the behind the scenes video. That's like where that would go. It's like, you know, maybe we wanted, maybe there was a reason that they only had one day. Like maybe they wanted to have it be a week and they had different plans, but they only got one day going. And so this is what they had to do and come up with. And they can only get a certain amount of people there, whatever. I like hearing about that kind of stuff. Stuff's kind of interesting with the filming process. And he himself is learning about the filming process. The Saska sisters have done their experience and looks like they're able to get a hold of other people that have filming experience. So this is like where we learn from it, and learning this about how he made the trailer already. Like it only did it in one day. That eases some of the critique for it a little bit. It's like you only had one day. Maybe you had a bunch of other plans and then those had to be scrapped and you are down to what you can. So you got to get her in the makeup. You got to get her in the outfit. You got to get her in the track one. The other girl has to get bloody. You got to get all that going. You have to do the stunt with the car. You got to get people running where they need to. You got to get the whole office building scene set up. And so you got your line of dialogue. Maybe you had a different speech planned. Maybe you wanted something else to happen, but you had to do whatever with the things to get it done in the one day. That changes the context big time, I would say, for like the overall quality of the trailer.
A lot of favors called in to make this happen, and to put this into perspective, it costs only a fraction of what we've spent on our animations. Some people have mistakenly assumed that this is a glimpse of something that's going to be longer form, but this is a trailer for a comic book, not a trailer for something longer form. We go about this completely differently if this was a film or a show, regardless of the budget.
I know that they're mostly doing the comic book stuff, and I know that a lot of people in the sphere would rather them focus on the comic part. But again, I'm more of a film guy. Even if it's crap, there's some enjoyment I get out of seeing a crappy film, or if it's a good, or what good parts can you pull out of one that's bad? And then if they do more than one, what do you see improve from the last ones? You know, how much of a difference is there? So this was their first one. They did shoestring budget, one day, all this stuff. If the factors are different for the next one after this, what type of improvements will there be? I like seeing that kind of stuff, if there is.
I'd love for us to do longer form animations and live actions and run it through our upcoming Rippaverse app. We have a lot of ideas in that regards, but at that point, it's a different ball game, because then we're not making something that's for comic book hype. We'd be making something that's a little more self-contained and meant to stand on its own. Some people have said if Hollywood put this out, you look at it differently. Well, yes.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I don't. Whenever it's a fan film or short film, I don't tend to compare them to Hollywood specifically. I mean, sometimes there will be parallels to draw, but the main thing I would take away, I guess, from the trailer, which I guess I probably should have mentioned at the beginning with it, is that the trailer comes off like it is trying to be a generic trailer. Like it didn't come off like it's trying to show me anything specific or like that it's trying to narrow down on something. It went for the feel of a trailer that you would see. That's what it came off as to me.
Well, I would, considering the context. A more accurate comparison would be, well, other comic book trailers. I've seen some comments say that this was like CW-esque from people that enjoyed it, and maybe some that didn't enjoy it as well. It's a compliment either way for us, because that's a network connected to a billion-dollar corporate entity and multiple billion-dollar corporate entities. What we paid to make this happen, though, probably doesn't even cover the catering budget for one of their shows. Either way, it was a great experience. I learned so much about everything from stunts.
Yeah, so right here, seeing him talk about it like this, I wish that this was in the behind the scenes, the making of, like the hype, the energy.
How to actually run a set. I've been kicking some ideas around.
He's talking about how he's learning about filmmaking. He's learning about all these different aspects of stuff. That's fun to do. That's cool.
And ways that we can and will improve. We're ambitious and we want to keep pushing the boundaries, trying new things, actually giving it a shot. You all see that, and that's why all of our releases are like these big events. Of course, whether you like it or not, you're free to criticize. Seeing people talk about...
Yeah, I mean, I think ISM 1, 2, and Alpha Core are shit. I think they're shit. But I'm curious what'll happen here. It's fun, even though I think ISM 1 and 2, like, they're funny to me, though. I do enjoy them for how bad they are. I enjoy the stuff. It's funny. Black English Reviews and I get a huge kick out of it. It is funny.
That have never really shown interest in comics, newbies, that's awesome. We hope that you stick around, but if not, that's fine too. I just didn't want people to get their hopes up and think that this was part of something that's on the way. Again, guys.
Yeah, I bet so, but I will say, when people are shown, when you're comparing hype for a comic compared to hype for a film, I feel like hype for films, whether it's a long film or a short film, whatever, I feel like that usually wins over the comic hype, in my opinion. I mean, again, I'm not born a comic person. I'm born more of a film person. But yeah, like if you're looking back with Iron Man and stuff, Black English Reviews brought this up before too, where you know, when Iron Man came out and stuff, like it's like, all right, Iron Man, wow, cool, it's on for the films. Now who wants to read the comic? I mean, some people maybe thought about that. I was one of them who was like, yeah, maybe there's comics, so maybe I could read them. But then I didn't really look into. I was really more interested in what the films were gonna do. I'd say it would probably be tough to integrate a, you know, live action, you know, a movie to sell a comic, I guess. Like, how can they sell each other in a way? Can they fuel each other to be successful? I don't know. With how this is so far, that's hard to say. You know, to me, it's too early to say how the company is. I mean, there has been a decline in the overall, as far as, you know, starting at 3.7 million to drop to 2 and then to 1 million ish. You know, the Yaira right now is at 1.1 or 1.2. That's cool. But I guess I would judge it more after the 6th book is out. I feel like once you get to 6, that's a better measuring stick of how everything's doing, how many backers there are and whatnot, to go, okay, where's the more consistent level here for the business? And with it, by that point, it'll have been 2 years or over 2 years by that point, I think. So we'll see. Anyway, that's my thoughts on the Yaira trailer and the behind the scenes and this video and stuff. So with that, I will see you guys later.